As you can see from the shelf behind me, this shelf is actually a bunch of books, a myriad of books that my dad has read and studied during his time in Emory University in Georgia, studying to be an MD. And a few years later, about a year later, before, he got his PhD. And yes, of course, going to college is really, really important. But what about a blogger or content writer or just a content creator? Let's talk about the pros and cons of not going to college. So the first pro, of course, is no student loans. You're not going to be paying student loans. You're not going to have student loans under your belt until probably you die. Second of all, you can focus more on the body of work and kind of the testimonies, and people kind of see you as a nobody at first, but you kind of can show that you're something. So it's kind of like people see you as the underdog, but you really have a lot of potential. And fourth, you just have more time to do self-education and just educating yourself online, whether it's podcasts or investing in ebooks and courses, and you can just sit around and make more content and have more time to blog and write for your audience. The cons sadly have to be, you have to always, you're kind of gonna have a fear of you're always what if something bad happens? You always have to be serious and kind of have this serious facade. You can't kind of veer off course or be crazy because you don't have that degree behind you. So you always have to kind of show that you have your head straight and kind of show that I got this. And it can be really scary because there's a lot of people who don't have a degree in the content space, and I've heard saying they romanticize not having a degree and they romanticize don't go to college, but really you kind of almost live your life in fear, so to speak, and you're so scared that if I just stop and take a small break with content, everything's gonna disappear. Furthermore, you don't have a degree, you don't have a diploma, you don't have anything. So that means you're gonna have to depend solely on content and depend on people to pay your bills. And that is terrifying, to depend on ads and people to make you have food on your plate, keep the lights on. That's terrifying. And anything can happen. YouTube, content, Google could change the rules, or your whole database could just disappear in the blink of an eye. Then what happens?
Oh my god.
See? Last con is, of course, you're gonna feel alone. You're not gonna be with people and you're not gonna be in that environment. That's why college will help with the interactions, because you're with people face to face in real time, in real life, rather than just sitting in a room and kind of isolating yourself. I have had a lot of content creators talk about that, the loneliness syndrome, where they just feel alone.
I don't like this.
And to remedy that, they do meetups, and you heard me say it, whatever. But they do meetups and they do stuff that helps imbue people in real time, but you're still missing out on that real life interaction, no matter how big your community is. I definitely do agree, college is definitely not for everyone. That's just a fact. There's some people who work really amazingly in a college environment and some people just don't. So let's talk about the pros and cons of going to college. The first pro is the connections. I remember my brother had a good big online community where they did battles, basically online battles on Instagram, and they would choose a character and have other person would choose a character and they would fight, and they would write full-fledged essays on this is why they would win. And his friend talked to him about he regrets not going to college for his content because he missed out on those connections. He missed out on those big not online, but face-to-face interactions, because you can't just sit in a room and blog and create content. You're gonna have to go out there, and there's no working around it. Instead of sitting in a room in four walls, you're gonna have to go out there and make things happen. Second of all, you have a degree, so people trust you a lot more. That doesn't mean just because you have a degree, people will listen to you, but it gives you that leg up compared to other people, so you can be a little bit more crazy. You can be a little bit more wacko, dacko, hacko, and not be so scared because you have a degree. You went to school and you got an education. And also, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice if you just sit and just create content. you can go to college and the content will be working for you. And yeah, the content's not going anywhere. It's always going to be working for you. It's going to be a evergreen. It's called evergreen content. It will always be out there working for you. And the cons have to be the student loans. The student loans is just a pain in the butt. Like, there's people who literally have student loans in, like, at their tail until they die and they can't pay it off. Second of all, you kind of, in a way, if you don't choose the right path, the only time you really want to go to college is if it's a path that's going to help your future. You don't just go to college and figure stuff out as you go. You have to go having a path in mind in what you want to do. So if you go to college for psychology and you create content like lifestyle and mental health and how to be your best version, of course that's going to help you. But if you just go to college for a random degree, you're going to waste your time and you're going to waste all that hard work. There's definitely a lot of cons if you don't go to college, of going to college, if you don't make the right decisions and you just go for the sake of going. So please don't make a fool of yourself and just go to college just for the sake of it, because you're gonna be wasting your time and hurting yourself financially, physically, mentally, spiritually. I feel like I'm drowning. So potential degrees that you could take for blogging is, of course, English, writing English, anything that helps with writing, that's obvious. Psychology and biology, this is something no one talks about. Psychology and biology double major is huge, because not only are you knowing about the brain, but you're knowing about how just people and why people think a certain way, why people are a certain way, their needs, and how you just understand people at a deep scientific human being level. And you don't get that if you just sit and really just read textbooks. But if you go to college and take the experience, huge, absolutely huge. The next one is neurolinguistics. I actually heard about neurolinguistics from Jay Darmawang's mom. You probably heard about Jay Darmawang's, my favorite social media creator on YouTube. And her mom reached out to me and I talked to her, should I go to college and stuff? And she told me, for you, I feel like college would work perfectly for you because you are a prestigious writer. You're just really talented. I was like, oh, thank you. I tried. So she said you could consider neurolinguistics. And I was like, psychology, of course. That's typical, but neurolinguistics is where you learn about the brain but also language. So it's basically, think of it of psychology and English and go together. That's amazing, because you're going to be learning about how the brain works, but how to communicate and how to blog and just how to persuade people. That degree teaches you how to persuade people and how to induce people without seeming, scummy or fake, but just, you're inducing them in a ethical manner. Let me tell you a quick story so that you can understand where I'm coming from with this whole college ordeal. So before the whole college, I didn't actually want to go to college. I just wanted to even drop out of high school. I wanted to drop out and just pursue content full time and just pursue my dreams and go out there and make a life. But I was really clashing heads with my parents, and my parents kind of didn't see me taking this big of a risk. It wasn't going to really do much for me. It wasn't going to help me. And I wanted to hear multiple opinions. Like, for example, Mama Dharma, I would listen to my parents, and some said, I recommend you drop out, and some people said, go to college. Mama Dharma said, go to college, and then my parents had a big, deep discussion. We kind of turned it from arguing to a full-on discussion. And my dad talked about, do you really think just sitting in a room creating videos every day is going to get you anywhere because of the current competition right now? Yes, 5 years later, I told my dad, 5 years later, it was different. You could blow up really easily because you were already on YouTube when no one was on. But now there's over 1 billion users, and the chances of standing out, even if you play by all the rules, you're niching down, you're doing searchable content, it's just hard to grow. And my dad said, how are you going to get that exposure? And I said, I don't know how I'm going to get that exposure. And he said, it's college. And instantly, everything clicked in my head. I never thought about that. College is perfect because I can go to college and join clubs, writing clubs, creative clubs, YouTuber clubs, and just clubs. And, in my class, I could be talking to my friends and I'm just, on my phone, just constantly, they're just like, bro, what you freaking doing? I said, I'm just editing a video. And they're just like, what, man, you have a YouTube? Bam. instant views. And this actually happened to me in class. I remember I was, talking to my friend, just us two. I was talking to her about my YouTube, and then my Spanish class just instantly said, "Wait, you have a YouTube?" And I was like, "Oh shoot!" They heard me and they said, "What's your YouTube? What's your YouTube? What's your YouTube?" And I said, "My YouTube is," I think it was Mercy Bunny back then, and then I changed it now. And they said, "Let me check you out. What do you do?" And before I did this, I did like health and well-being content. And they said, "I'm gonna check you out, even subscribe." And I was just getting instant views. People were watching my videos in class. Some people were laughing, but like, what the freak? Like, I probably made like a fool of myself, but like,
Khajiit has seen something. Ways of the Khajiit. Surely the incomparable Dragonborn knows this, yes?
it's doing that is gonna get you that exposure. And remember what my brother's friend said, they wanted to go to college because of those connections. And it's gonna be really hard. I'm not discouraging anybody. If you don't want to go to college, you don't have to, like, but it's gonna be hard. You're gonna have a bunch of barriers, and like I said, you're gonna have to always have this facade of like you have everything, you know what's going on, and you have everything together. You can't slip up, you can't screw up, because you lose trust immediately. And it's so hard to get trust, and it's so hard for people to listen to you. And it's just, going to college is really gonna help you. And I feel like a lot of content creators don't want to admit that, and they just think that you don't have to go to college, just drop out and just do your own thing. But college is gonna help you. Like, you're gonna get that degree, you're gonna have those connections, and having a body of work and testimonies on top of a degree, people are 50%, 75% chance are gonna listen to you and trust you. So yeah, everything changed, and we made a plan. So I'm gonna try this year. I'm really gonna go down on school and study, work my butt off, and try to hopefully be the valedictorian, or be like the top 15 in like my whole grade. And I'm gonna try to go to USF and try to get a free scholarship, and then take biology and psychology double major, because we talked about the importance of that to understand humans. And then after that, we found out USF doesn't have neurolinguistics, so I'm going to try to transfer to an Ivy League school like Harvard, and try to take neurolinguistics. And before we leave, you guys probably heard about those people who dropped out, like, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, all those big names who changed the world globally in a big way. They actually didn't drop out. They actually redirected their focus into another medium. While they were still taking classes, they were doing a big thing that will possibly change the world. And that's not dropping out. That's just redirecting your focus into another medium so that you can do something bigger. So yeah, they didn't drop out. Dropping out literally means you reject the school system and you do your own thing. They didn't drop out. They just redirected their focus into another medium, and they changed the world globally. And like I said, the only chance you really have now, I'm gonna be straight up honest, the only chance you really have in making it, if you don't go to college and just take the risk, is if you have insane resources. Like, let's say you want to be a doctor. If you have a big line of doctors in your family, of course it's going to help you because you're ahead of the pack. Same comes with, let's say your parents were writers or bloggers, or just really big in something that you wanted to do. It's going to help you because you know everything, because they gave you that extra information that no one knows, so you're ahead of the pack. Second, if you're just really talented, like you're extremely talented, people are going to just be instantly drawn to you because you just have that talent, and people want to emanate that. Next is if you're just really polarizing and really controversial, and you're not afraid to piss people off. You're just really controversial, like Donald Trump, Freely the Banana Girl. Those people are very controversial. They have diehard haters and diehard lovers. And the next last is hard work. You're insanely hardworking. Like, you work your butt off. And you don't sleep, like you literally create hours and hours and hours. That's the only chance you really have to make it out here. And if you don't go to college, But if you go to college, it's gonna make it a lot easier, trust me. And I just can't wait to go to college and have this content work for me, because it's not going anywhere. I got the podcast, I got the YouTube, and yeah, everything's just gonna be working for me when I go to college and build those connections, and the YouTube is just gonna grow exponentially, hopefully. Thank you so much for the support lately, like with the content. We just came back on YouTube, and I'm trying to just upload, from time to time, and just post when I feel like it, be relatable. And I really love you guys, and just please, like, you guys mean the world to me. You guys really do, and I really want to give you the information you need to crush it, and actually give you like real information, like compared to these other blogger YouTubers who kind of don't seem like they give a crap. But I give a crap, and I care about you. So Puffball is signing out, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Goodbye, Puffball. Loves you. Freak school. JK.